Welcome students to our Young Professionals in Manufacturing panel. My name is Monica Hernandez, and I am the School to Career Manager at Greater SATX, where I lead our youth work-based learning programs, including our job shadow days and our summer high school internships. During today's panel, you'll hear from 3 young professionals who will share with you a little bit about their journeys in the manufacturing industry. We have a few questions prepared for them, and we hope that you learn a lot and are inspired by their work in manufacturing. So thank you again, gentlemen, for your time this afternoon, and thank you for wanting to share your story. The first question that I have for you all is if you could please briefly introduce yourself. So your name, where you work, and what you do, and then describe why you chose your career and how education and training has prepared you for this work that you're doing. And we'll get started with you, Dwayne.
My name is Dwayne Cifuentes. I work for HEB with their IFS department, Industrial Facility Services. We help out every department that's with HEB with our HVAC and also their barriers. We do their welding. Also, we do troubleshooting for like HVAC units or just pretty much any scenario where other departments need help and they outsource it. We're the ones that answer the call. What was the other question again?
Yeah, and then that second part is, so why did you choose this career?
I actually enjoy working on machinery, and I love troubleshooting and trying to figure out what's the cause of a problem. So joining this department or this field, I actually do that a lot. Every day I show up, and it's always a different scenario, different department, different problem. And so I actually get some satisfaction in solving the issue, and no matter how long it takes.
Okay, thank you. And then I'll have you, Edgar, go next. So again, briefly introduce yourself, name, where you work, and what you do, and then why did you choose this career?
Okay. So hi, my name is Edgar Gonzalez. I work at the HEB dairy plant. I'm part of their maintenance team. Essentially what I do is fabrication, troubleshooting, electrical, pneumatic, hydraulic, all the goods. Pretty much I chose this field because it's a way to progress yourself. It's a very challenging field. It's very purpose driven. Like you have to try to learn, be willing to learn, and then also be able to teach. So it's a pretty good field to be in. It's a lot of moving parts.
Thank you, Dwayne. And then I'll hand it over to you, Isaac.
Hello, my name is Isaac Lopez. I work for a company called Forma. We are a tier 1 supplier at the Toyota campus. Our company supplies Toyota, the Toyota Tundra truck bed. That's where we manufacture in San Antonio. Why I chose this career, it's very high in demand. There's plenty of growth opportunities. I myself have been promoted 6 times from a entry-level position to now a manager role in quality.
Thank you. So, we want to share with the students a little bit more, right, of it's not all great and, sometimes things happen. So, we want to learn a little bit about what have been some of your biggest challenges as you enter this career. And then also, what are some of those greatest successes that you have had as you've moved along your journey in this career?
I say one of the greatest challenges I had was taking over machinery that's cost a lot of money and has, I guess, that the HEB depends on a lot. So showing up to one of those trouble calls and having to take full responsibility over it and taking care of the machinery was like one of my biggest challenges, was getting the confidence for that. Over time though, working with partners and learning and making mistakes, I learned to gain that confidence and just take over the scenario or the scene and just be confident with the decisions I end up making to fix the problem. One of my greatest successes here is actually was one of the conveyors went down. No one was there, and the closest help or partner to me was roughly about an hour away. So I had to just slow things down and go about it step by step, and actually take care of the problem and got the conveyor back and running before anyone even noticed that it was actually down for so long. So I kind of take pride of that because it just took me so long to get that confidence on a machinery that I had no idea about 6 months ago. And so I guess that'd be mine.
Wonderful, thank you. And then Edgar, some of your biggest challenges and greatest successes in your education and career journey here.
Okay, so I'd say the biggest challenge is always just getting started, because nobody likes getting started. Like fresh beginning, it's scary, but it's always something to overcome. But like once you get through it, it's kind of rewarding, you know. It feels pretty good to be accepted or just to be relied on with the team. So I'd say biggest challenge is definitely getting something new started, and then biggest success or kind of success is just being able to be part of the team, be part of the the solution kind of.
Wonderful,
That's
thank
it.
you. And then we'll pass it over on to you, Isaac.
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges for me along my journey is just change in general. We call them change points. As you start working, you kind of get into a routine, but along the way, you start to notice change in your workforce and some of the jobs on the floor. But what we call them is Kaizen. Kaizen is good change. So you got to be willing to be open-minded and change along the way. One of my biggest successes here is developing others. I can say with my growth opportunities here at Forma, I also developed others to grow with me into their careers. So that also helps you, grow within yourself, is developing others to grow with you.
Wonderful, thank you. And as you may know, so high school students will be watching this recording, and we want to hear from you to share, what were some of those favorite classes that you took in high school, and how did they prepare you for where you are now for this career?
I guess my favorite classes in high school were actually science, math, and PE.
Okay.
So I know math has actually helped out a lot in just my day-to-day life, but it comes out a lot in our environment or our fields, taking measurements and stuff like that. Science with physics, that definitely comes into play a lot with HVAC. There's a lot of pressures and liquids and just a lot of things going on, and you have to have kind of an understanding of how that works. So if those are your favorite classes, stuff like that will come to a little ease as opposed to having to learn it from scratch. PE, that definitely helps me out a lot because I like to stay active, and so my field, I feel like you have to be active. There's a lot of tools that we carry. We do go up to rooftops, and some rooftops are 4, 5, 6 stories high, and so that's a workout getting all your tools up there and bringing them back down, and other machinery, pumps, vacuums, stuff like that. Being fit, that definitely helps a lot in this field.
Good, thank you. And what about for you, Edgar?
I'd say my favorite class is probably gym for sure, right? It's always good to stay active. It's always fun, and you definitely need it here because it's always one thing. One day you're just bent over in a comfortable spot, just working on the machine, keeping your head up. It's tiring. So being physically fit usually helps. Not a requirement, but it helps. And then I'd say also math. Math is, even though it wasn't my favorite, I'm glad I kind of stuck with it because there's times when you have to do some calculations that are a little complicated, and it always helps to be good at it. And then I'd say physics is usually pretty good, like pressure points and all that good stuff for fabrication always helps.
Good, awesome. So I'm hearing a lot of gym and fitness. Yeah. What about you, Isaac? What were you say were some of those favorite classes in high school, and how they helped you prepare for the work you're doing now?
So my favorite classes, aside from sports, in the core classes, I would say the electives that you get to decide what you want to do in high school. One of those being is shop and ag. There you learn, general tools. I myself took welding, in manufacturing, learning those, basics for tooling helps you a long way when you start manufacturing. Some other electives that helped me was BIM. We called it Business Information Management. It's where we learned Microsoft Office.
Okay.
What really helped out in that class is Excel. And then I also took a communications class for public speaking. Once you get in manufacturing, you're not by yourself, right? You're working with others. So you gotta, learn how to get along with others and speak in front of people.
Wonderful. And would you all agree that communication and teamwork is central to your work?
Yeah,
Essentially.
for sure.
Most
Yeah.
definitely.
Good to hear. If you hearing that, high school students, you may not like team projects, but they are important as you go into your careers. Thank you, gentlemen. So our next question here is more on those skills needed to be successful in your field. So if you can please describe what those skills look like and how they help in your role.
I will start off with being hardworking.
Okay.
Laziness definitely, it just makes your day a little harder. You'll work a little harder. Without even trying, you'll end up working harder. You'll end up doing the job twice or maybe more than that. Other than hardworking, determination, and having the tenacity to finish the job, and not leave it for somebody else or leaving it for the next day, or just overlooking it and saying, I just don't feel like doing it today. Because certain small little problems like that could become bigger, and your job just got a lot bigger the next day. Other than that, being quick learning, or just be able to have the patience as well to accept the surroundings or the facts that are around you. Definitely just being patient with everything. You rush things, you make mistakes, and you make your day a little harder than you want it to be. And you learn things a lot faster too if you just take the time to just be patient and just watch it happen, verify the process and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you, Dwayne, and pass it over to you, Edgar.
Okay. So I'd say the skills for sure, like the most needed that I have experienced, it's patience. Like you have to be very patient, even because you're starting a new field. It's always good to be patient, be willing to learn. Just I feel like patience is really important. Like I couldn't emphasize it enough because there's times when you're like on a machine on a breakdown, you just like want to get out. You have to just stay with it, stay on it, like just patience and then tenacity, I would say too.
Okay.
Being able to have that drive to just keep going, not give up. I'd say that's really all I could say. I think that helped me the most.
Thank you, Edgar. What happens if someone doesn't have patience at work, especially in your role?
I'd say it's one of those things, even if you don't have it, it's always good to try to get it.
Okay.
Because it
Yeah.
helps.
So if you're hearing that, you all have to start working on that because that's definitely an important skill in in any career.
I could add on to that actually.
Okay.
Having patience also comes with being humble. Certain times, there'll be times where you will make a mistake and you want to try to rush to get it fixed before anyone can notice. Sometimes you just gotta step back and look at it and even ask for help and learn from a veteran that come and breaks it down a lot simpler for you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that additional insight, Dwayne. And what about for you, Isaac? So what are some of those skills that you believe are necessary for students and future employees wanting to be successful in the field?
Some of the skills that I would say that are necessary is time management.
Okay.
You can start now in school, just being on time to class, don't be tardy. You can relate that here in the workplace. Another one is communication. What I mean by communication, it's not just, speaking or talking, it's also listening. Listening is part of being a communication. And then the last one would be just being initiative, willing to take that extra step or mile, just, helps you along your career.
Right. And Isaac, would you say that your initiative is probably one of the reasons why you've been promoted many times?
Yeah, I would say so for
Yeah.
sure.
Wonderful. So if you are hearing this, if you're self-starter initiative, you'll be able to move on quickly. Thank you, gentlemen. So our next question here is, we've learned a little bit of the skills. We've learned a little bit about, your journeys, what classes you've taken, how you've varied of your role. But I want to hear now what a typical day in your job looks like, right? You get to work, and then you leave, but things happen in between, obviously. So, Dwayne, we'll start with you first. So, can you please describe a typical day in your current job?
So currently I'm actually interning for 2 different positions here with HEB.
Oh.
So 1 week I work with the HVAC team, and the next week I work with the automation team. So I'll start off with the HVAC team, and usually when we start off our day, we usually have meetings, and we'll talk about either the weather, and also about just units that need help, calls that have came in, and we start dispersing our teams from there. From there, we go into our units. We'll get a call. We'll go talk to the team leaders or talk to our customers, and they'll give us an idea of what the trouble is. And most times we end up climbing up to the roofs and going into the units and breaking them down and troubleshooting the electrical and also their pressure gauges. And so we're out in the elements for sure. We're exposed to the sun, the rain, cold, whatever, what have you. Once we do that, we do whatever it takes to get the unit back and running, to have it blowing cold air back into the rooms and satisfying everybody in the offices. And after that, we usually just go back to our offices and put our tools back up and call it a day. For our automation department, it's a little bit different. We're more, I would say, on your own. So we will get our tablets that has our calls already pre-laid out for us, and we just go and choose which ones we have to go and handle first. We prioritize the imminent failure ones to the ones that could be pulled back. And on those, we do the same thing. We talk to the customer. The customer tells us what's the issue, what issues they're having or not having. And we go and verify the process, and we troubleshoot the electrical, or we do hands-on welding, or just whatever it needs to take to get the job done. On automation, we do see more of the robotics and computers. So you get to be clean for a little bit, then you go onto the field and get dirty again.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get best of both worlds in that sense. Once we do finish troubleshooting and fixing on units or conveyors or whatever we have we go back and we do a last touch with our supervisor, and we kind of just update him on the scenarios that we're in and the calls that we had, and they will update the same thing for us for the next day. And that's pretty much a typical day for us. It's pretty relaxing. It's not rushing. You're definitely on your own free time.
I was about to say that sounds like a lot for a typical day, but
It is
that's
a
great
lot,
though.
but
Yeah.
It's spread out.
Good. What about your typical day, Edgar? What does that look like?
So I'm pretty much the same as Dwayne. I'm an intern for HEB, but I'm at a dairy plant, so I'm in actual manufacturing. So my day, there's only like one common, and it's every day we're gonna have a morning meeting about what's down and what needs to happen. But other than that, it could be pretty wild. There's days where it's nice and calm, doing PMs, just preventative maintenance on machines, just greasing it, taking care of it, inspecting it. The other days when you're just running around like a crazy person, just taking care of the machines, breakdowns.
Yeah.
And there's other days when we're just welding, fixing whatever we can. A lot of things to do. Our days usually range from very calm to very chaotic. Pretty different.
Good. It sounds like it definitely keeps you on your toes for your day.
Yeah, there's always something to do. Always.
Good. Okay. And then Isaac, can you describe for us your typical day, please?
Yeah, a typical day here at Forma for a entry level position is anywhere between 8 to 12 hours a day.
Okay.
It starts at 6:30 in the morning, and depending on when you end your shift will determine your end time. We rotate every 2 weeks, day shift and night shift. Like I said earlier, we assemble the Tundra truck bed. So we try to produce 500 per shift. So about 1,000 per day is what we try to do. Our workplace has 42 stations that you're able to rotate. It's kind of like class in school. You have different periods. So you're able to rotate essentially 4 to 5 times in a typical workstation. You know, as I developed into my current role, I start my day at the same time. But what I do now is I review our company's Hoshin. So I've been given KPIs where I have to make sure we hit our targets and quotas, and then working with my team and on how to achieve that. Every day it's pretty much the same but different, if that makes sense. It goes by very fast, so that's an upside to it.
And Isaac, have you been to all 42 stations at work that you were saying?
Yeah, I have actually. Everyone is willing to learn them all. You got to start
Yeah.
somewhere, and then eventually, you get to learn inside the workplace, and pretty soon you could build a whole truck bed by yourself if you
That's
wanted.
awesome. Well, that sounds exciting. Thank you so much for sharing that. So we have a couple more questions. I think students, as well as they start understanding work, right? I think they want to hear a little bit more, right? How do you balance, your job with your personal life, right? Because it's no longer, just you go to classes and then you get to go home. Now, you have a job, you're learning a lot. How are you able to balance that job with your outside world responsibilities?
So I'm a huge nerd, so to be honest. So this field that I do, I actually love and do it on my free time too. So in a way, I kind of do take my work home.
Okay.
But when I go home, I work on my own projects, which is my motorcycle. And or if I'm not doing that, I'm just working on house appliances. And I also have a second job where I do like handyman work for just friends and family that I know out here, out of word of mouth as of now. But HEB actually does offer a lot of free time to us. So we get normally 3 days off, and vacation comes pretty easily after your first year. So you get roughly around 3 weeks if you time manage it really well. With that time off, I actually do take vacations. I like going on road trips, going camping, just so I clear my head. So when I do come back to work or going back home, I have a clearer mind I have a clearer mind, so I have a better way of seeing things. So that's pretty much what I like to do in my free time.
Great. Thank you, Dwayne. And what about you, Edgar? How do you balance your work and your life outside of it?
So I'd say for sure, for me at least personally, it's more of just not letting go, but just kind of being a little more passive when it comes to work. 'Cause work can stress you out. It's just better to leave that at work than take it home. It's always good to just differentiate your work life and your personal life. That's what I could say. Like, just it's not that personal. Like, it's your job, take it serious, but also just like I said, just leave it at work. Don't take it home. Like, just be more like that.
Yeah, find a good balance of
Figuring it out,
being
right?
productive, but also enjoying your life. Thank you.
Yes.
What about for you, Isaac? How do you balance your work and your life outside of it?
I would have to agree. There's a saying, leave work at work, leave home at home. Once you're at work, you got to take it serious. But when you go home, that's when you dedicate your personal life to yourself. Do not let work get involved where it can stress you out.
Yeah.
There's plenty of time to do a hobby as well. So I would take up a
Good.
hobby and just enjoy your time off that you have.
Nice. Well, it's nice to hear that you all, are having a good balance and enjoying, the fruits of your labor. Thank you for that. The next question here is, as students are watching this, what are some steps, that you all are advised that they should be taking to prepare for, their careers in manufacturing, as they're still in high school, but over the next couple of years, they'll probably have to start taking some steps and decisions. What do you say to that, Dwayne? What should they be doing now?
I would agree with what Isaac had said earlier. Start learning how to time manage your time. Get in a routine of putting everything in schedules and just start looking forward and setting goals for out there in the future. Besides that, I would recommend staying active.
Okay.
Don't don't get too lazy, and next you know that belly of yours has become a bigger belly. It's just being active, staying fit actually makes your day a little bit more easier. You stress less, and so you're able to think clearer a lot more. Other than that, I would recommend, if you're trying to get into the maintenance field, is help out around the house. There's always something wrong at the house that's breaking down. And believe it or not, some stuff like that, you'll see it in the workplace, just probably a little bit bigger and a little more complex.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dwayne. What about you, Edgar? What do you think are some steps they should be taking now?
I'd say for sure some steps you could take is kind of just finding what company interests them, what kind of work they want to do, and just maybe like internship or just talking to the company, getting in contact with them, see what you could do. Like me personally, I always like mechanical stuff. So right now I'm an actual intern, an internship with HEV. It's called an AMT program. So it's 2 years. You intern, see what you learn. If you like it, you stay. If not, you go to another department, like just rotate to another one. Like right now I'm a dairy. But say I didn't like it, you could just go to bakery or go to ice cream. You could just internship around, see what you like. They just trying new things, staying invested in learning. That's pretty important.
Good. So sort of exploring and being curious is
Yeah,
a good
especially when
step.
you're young, especially in high school. There's so much time. Just see what you like, stay invested, invest in yourself, just
Yes.
stay active.
Thinking. What about you, Isaac? So what are some steps you would recommend students watching now should take as they start exploring a career in manufacturing?
I would say, do your homework, do your research on manufacturing. There's so many fields in manufacturing, so many types. I'm in automotive, but there's other, manufacturing that you can look into. So knowing your research before applying for a job, that way you know what you get yourself into. There's some classes you can take prior. There's like an OSHA 10 or OSHA 30 that you're able to take before you start your career. There's also a couple of good books you can look up. There's one on lean manufacturing. There's one that I like. It's called the Toyota Way. It gives you like a high level view of manufacturing. Like I said earlier, I would take like a shop class or an automotive class in high school, just to get used to tools, general tools, just to help you along your way. It's a good skill to learn.
Wonderful. Thank you. Those are great steps. Really appreciate you all sharing sort of that insight of, what it looks like to get to where you are now. We have come to now our closing question. And that is, do you have any last words or advice for our students? I know you all started to share a little bit of advice, but is there anything, that you'd like to share with them as they're transitioning to high school into now a possible career in manufacturing? And we'll start with you, Dwayne.
Well, anything extra, huh? Can I come back to it?
Yeah, no problem. You want to take it, Edgar, if you have any last words or advice for our students?
So I feel like the main one I could give is always be invested in yourself, always be willing to learn. But also when you're in a new position, don't be scared to ask questions. There are no bad questions. It's always better to ask it and make sure you don't do anything wrong and do something wrong and be like, oh, you should have asked. Just ask a question. Don't be shy. Just go ahead. go for it.
Thank you.
I guess I could go off of that.
Okay, yeah.
To piggyback off of that, definitely building some confidence behind yourself, and definitely be humble. You're not going to be the smartest person answering the room on day one. It takes some time to get that wisdom and to get that knowledge, and sometimes you're going to fall, and just be ready for that. When you fall, just make sure you get back up and just stay determined on the job and with all that you have.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. And Isaac, any last words of advice for our students?
Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but time management is key in being on time. Be on time, be early if you can. It's not like school. There are consequences if you're not to your shift or to your it's your world now, right? You're coming to a different environment. It's all on you. So better to be early. And also just to be open-minded and willing to change. But yeah, the learning doesn't stop whether you like it or not. You're always gonna be learning as you're growing. So
Wonderful. Well, thank you all. That's it for my questions. Like I mentioned to you all, our students are watching, and I'm appreciative, and I know they'll be appreciative as well as their teachers of your time today, your commitment to sharing about your journey, sharing about your industry. So thank you again for your time. I took some notes down, and Isaac, some of those books that you recommended in case any of our students reach out with questions. But thank you all again for your time. Really appreciate it. And, we hope a lot of students, as they're watching this, are inspired, and again, have a great rest of your afternoon. And thanks again. And if you need anything, let me know.
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.